Alright, Department of Defense 6000, Defense of the Pentagon, Washington 2031, 6000. February 27th, 2024, when the Incorporated Change 1 of January 23rd, 2025, of the Memorandum, Senior Pentagon Leadership of the Committee of the Combat Command, Defense Agency, the DoD Field, Activity Directive of the Type of the Memorandum 25001, Department of Defense Cybersecurity for the Perform Cloud Service Offering, see attachment and form of the authority of the Department Directive 5144, OT of the Directive Type Memorandum, or established policy assignment of the responsible to provide for the perceive of the cybersecurity, the defense, cybersecurity, operation activity for the perform of the DoD system technology, cybersecurity service provider, DoD, any of the commercial entity for the behalf of the mentioned owner of the authorized official of the incorporated the council of the DoD chief of the information officer of the memorandum of the Department of Defense cybersecurity activity performing of the cloud service offering November 15, 2017, effective with January 27, 2024, must be incorporated the DoD instruction 853001, the Department of Defense manual 853001, the Directive Type Memorandum will expire effective with February 27, 2026. The Directive Type Memorandum applies to Office Secretary of the Military Department's Office of the Chairman, Joint Chief of the Staff, the Joint Staff of the Combat Commander's Office of the Inspector General, the Director of the Defense Agency of the DoD, with the field of the activity organization of the DoD, referred to collectively in with the Directive Type Memorandum of the DoD components, receive the glossary with the definition policy of the DoD, with identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover the DoD information system technology responsibility attachment, with the proceed with the C of the attachment, summary chain with the change the extent of the expiration date of the Directory Type Memorandum to February 27, 2026. Clear public release available to the Director of the Division of the ESD with the White House of the DoD, John B. Sherman, the Department of Defense Chief of the Information Office attachments as stated. Reference to the Cyber Incident Handling Program, policy with the computing of the National Security System, including policy and computing, cloud computing, modification, executive order, cyberspace, operation, command and control, Committee of the National Security System, Instruction Committee of the National Security System, glossary, Federal Acquisition Regulations, Subpart 20473, current edition, Defense Information System and Agency with the Department of Defense Cloud Computing Security Requirement Guidelines of the DoD Architectural Framework, Vision 202, the Inspector General of the Department of Defense, Department of Defense Chief of the Information Officer of the Department Directive, the Department Directive of the DoD Inside of the Threat Program, the Department Directive of 80001, the Department of Defense for the Information Enterprise of the Department of Defense Instruction 52200-048 with uncontrolled unclassified information, Department of Instruction 8330-01 inoperability information technology including the National Security System, DoD Instruction 8500-01 cybersecurity, DoD Instruction 8530-01 cybersecurity activity, DoD Information Network Operations, DoD Instruction 8530-03 cyber incident response, 8531-01 DoD vulnerability management, the 8582-01 security of the non-DoD informational system processing and classified non-public DoD information, cybersecurity and support procedure for the DoD manual 8530-01 executive order 140-028 with the improvement of the National Cybersecurity of the National Institute standard of the technology special publication NIST Cloud Computing Reference Architectural, National Institute Standard of Technology publication NIST Cloud Computing Reference Architecture with the National Standard Institute publication 801-35 Information Security Continuous Monitoring Federal Information System Organization. The Security Directive 42 of the National Policy Security of the National Security of the Telecommunication Information System of the National Security Memorandum 08 of the Memorandum to improve the cybersecurity of the National Security of the Department of Defense Intelligence Community System, Office of Management, Budget Managing Information Strategic Resource of the United States Cyber Command Infrastructure with the cyberspace protection conditions. Attachment 2, responsible, the Department of Defense Chief of the Information Officer provides strategic management guideline with the direction of the DoD component as for the planned budget, program, budget, development, and implementation capability to provide the Department of Defense with an information network base within the DoD enterprise with the architect with the coin with the Department Directive with the 8001 with the Joint Information Environment and the Architecture, ensure capability with the development and incorporated with the Department of Defense Information Enterprise with the Architecture and coin with the Department of Defense Instruction 8330 with the 01 of the Department of Defense Information Network, oversee with the development and the implementation of the Department of Defense Cybersecurity architect with the capability of the Department of Defense Information Network with the coordinator with the Commander of the United States Cyber Command, Director of the National Security Agency with the Chief of Counsel, Chief of Central Security Service with the National Manager. The implement the directive of the action with the equipment for the cyber tasking with the task order of the directive of the issue with the United States Cyber Command with the order of the subordinate with the coordinate commander with the Joint Force over the Department of Defense Information Network with the November 14, 2014 Chairman, Joint Chief of the Staff of the staff of the Executive Order, DoD component heads. Each of them responsible for the Department of Defense Instruction 853001 with the Department of Defense component with the head of the intro of the mission oversee with the responsible for the authorizing official for the account for with the intro of the over the cloud offering, serve with the offering contract with include with the accreditation boundary with the licensing agreement with the cybersecurity activities and with the chief service cloud servicing offering with the contract include with the requirements of the CSSP with the notification and acknowledgement proceed with the cybersecurity incident with the ensure with the independent with the threat with the representative with the cyber side with the integrated with the cloud service the offering with the contract with the perform with the curve certified with the curve with the Department of Defense cyber red team with the with the Department of Instruction 8330 with the 01 more advanced capability testing integration with the congestion with the cyberspace with conditions and curve with the establishing process of validating requirements for the tactical techniques procedures between mission over the TSSP with the chief cloud servicing off of the concept with the related to incident with the response with the component with the cybersecurity with the policy specifically with the cognate mission of the owners retaining the responsibility with the commercial entity with the performance and identify with the process of the proof of the task tracking corrective action with the cloud servicing offering with the process of the include with the cloud servicing offering contracts. Attachment 3 DoD Cloud Cybersecurity Activity Mission over the mission over the ensure the data with the integrate with the cloud with the appropriate security level to have the approval of the risk management with the executive authority authorizing official with the require with the establishing formal agreement the contract with the document acquired with the cybersecurity service mission owner with the data system hosted with the cybersecurity office of operation cybersecurity. Cloud service offering. Cloud service offer for the agreement of contract with the DVD with the range from the exemption with between the mission over the CSSP with the DoD and with the commercial with the end of the application mention with the maintain with the required level of performance delivery with the compliance artifact with the formal agreement the contract with the main require with the level of agreement with the specific regulatory directive that do not exist. For everything cybersecurity active with the commercial entity performed for the end of the coordination with the DoD component with the authorizing official with the intro with the EHHQ with the Department of Defense Information Network can be evaluated except for the cybersecurity activity the mission owner with the authority official with the monthly review of the federal risk of the authorization management program of the Department of Defense provision of the authorization artifacts associated with the mission owner with the cloud environment with the understanding of the risk of the mission with the inherit with the use and select with the cloud service the offering with the mission with the system application the mission owner with the need with the authorizing official set with the manager with the risk support with the cybersecurity activity identify with the any with the gap cybersecurity activity authorizing official with the main concern with the risk of the validator who will believe with the responsible for providing each of the cybersecurity activity address gaps and acceptable level of the risk associated with the level of protection required with the hardware, software, data hosted within the cloud environment of the mission owner of the program manager with the authorizing official with the main pursuit with the accept with the document in lieu selected cloud service to provide with the cybersecurity services support with the evaluations part with the DoD provision with the authorization or with the other DoD authorization artificial with the form of the base with the recipient with the ensure with the contractor or linked special with the documents over the CSP with the cloud service provider with the compliant with the requirements of the provider with the data information with the CSP with the DCO requirements of sharing the information all of the parties involved with the DoD within data and in the cloud with the CSSP with the authorizing official with the DoD responsible for when required. Provide access with the capability asset with the data with the DoD evidence commercial evidence DoD inspection assessment team with the DoD entity with the commercial entity with the grant access with the permission with the mission with the program and with the authorizing official with the CSSP with the DoD inspection assessment team access with the cybersecurity related information DoD entity with the commercial entity with the collective will be restricted only with those required for the performance cybersecurity activities on behalf of the DoD with the cybersecurity activities mission owner with the address with the ensure the performance all of the activity listed in the table of one with the table to refer to the annotation specify the organization may perform the cybersecurity activity each of the services model with the infrastructure service of the line and with the perform with the platform as a service the software as a service of the impact and level by impact level of cybersecurity activity conduct with the system and identify with the national security system and the connect with the national security system required with the committee on the national security system policy 32 the national security directive with the 42 with the executive order 1402 with the 8 with the national security memorandum 08 with the cybersecurity activities not listed or listed specifically listed here refer to the Department of Activity Instruction 853001 cybersecurity activities. We have vulnerability assessment analysis, external vulnerability scans, web vulnerability scans, external assessment with the annual assessment with the DCRT with the operation DACA operation penetration testing with the intrusion assessment with awareness testing, endpoint security capability, vulnerability management, maintenance of all the DoD required security configuration, performance action with the mitigate with the potential vulnerability threats, monitor vulnerability management, compliant with the malware protection, attacking sensing warning, anonymous events of the attacking sensing warning of the boundary cyberspace protection function, attacking sense of the warning of the application warning intelligence the information security continue with the monitoring, maintain continuous visibility of the endpoint of the devices, correlate asset with the vulnerability data with the threat data with the malware notification, the detection process, network security monitoring, entry for the detection of the BCP, the function of the network endpoint with the security with the monitoring, enclave level. Department of Defense instructors and the action of the user activity monitoring with the DoD with the inside with the EU under user activity monitoring capability to detect with anonymous insider activity, maintain with the insider with the 3 audit data with the correlate inside with the audit data with the components with the inside with the cyber program, cyber protection condition, and order with the cyber protection condition, orders implementation and notification and assistance, incident categorization, incident reporting, handling and response to law enforcement, incident response to law enforcement, incident response, counterintelligence, incident response analysis. Cybersecurity act with the tracking with the checklist with the mission over the program end with the develop with the cooperation of the CSSP with the PM with the authorized official with the identify with the respond with the provide with the cybersecurity active with the benefits needs with the mission owner with the ensure with the provides the platforms with the activity and with the DoD compute cloud computing secure with the requirement of the guide with the DoD with the manual 853001 complete definition cybersecurity activity description with the mission owner responsible for maintaining the inventory of the mission component with the providing and authorizing official CSSP with the record with the security activity listed in the table 1 vulnerability assessment analysis of the organization performing the vulnerability assessment analysis mission over the process request execution any of the visible vulnerable assessment analysis for the activity with the external vulnerability scan with the DoD end with the commercial with the end with the conform with the external vulnerability scan to identify with external accessible vulnerability with the main port with the mission owner with the data through the external scan with the DoD with the commercial end with the perform the external vulnerability scan send scan with the notification mission over the CSP's SP with the analyze provide with the executive summary with each of the scan with the mission over the CSSP with the determine the potential impact with the mission owner with the operation with identified mitigate with the remediate with identified findings with maintain the result locally share with the result of all of the stuff the assessment provide with the situational whatever the mission owner with the authorized official of the CSSP with any of the vulnerabilities mitigation with the strategy the major change with the mission with the owner of the environment of the request web vulnerability scan DoD any of the commercial entity with the perform a web vulnerability scan with the web vulnerability scan you would assist the mission owner with the complying with the DoD the instruction with 853001 public facing web presence with the protecting the DoD demilitarization zone whitelisted website with the DoD component commercial entity with the performing the White House server the web vulnerability scan will provide result of the mission over and the CSSP with the analyze impact with the Department of Defense instruction network with each of the scan provide with the effective summary of the mission over the CSSP with the entity with identify with the mitigate mediated findings identified findings you with the DoD with the component improve with the procedure with the test of the value with the web vulnerability scan with tools effective with appropriate and safety with the use of the mission owner with the system with the provide situational awareness report mission owner with the CSSP known vulnerability mitigation strategy with the major change of the environment the external the assessment with the coordinator with the program and with the authorized official of the mission owner with the identify with the need with the external assignment most appropriate type of the external with the assessment with the possible source with the external assessment with the DFD with the commercial academy with the can be formed with the external assessment with the contract with the CSB with the must include with the description and accreditation boundary with the license agreement DoD cyber assessment with the team with the event with the penetration testing with the organization performing the external assessment with the most of the support mission owner with the coordinator with the activities general with the Department of Defense commercial entity with the required with the performing external with the assessment with the state below with the coordinated remote assessment with the mission owner with the before with the command cyber with the readiness with the command cyber the operational readiness inspection comply with the process execute the India with the external with the assessment activity supply with the technical assistance report artifact situation with the awareness of the external assessment with the mission owner with the environment of the mission owner with the DoD component authorized official with the CSSP with the analyze with the remediate with the identify with the vulnerability with the after action report with the detail of the exploit with the vulnerable points of the in-scope targets with the general with the remediation recommendation with the maintain result locally and share with the result of the mission with the owner of the DoD component authorizing official and the CSSP with the DCRT with the operation with the DoD certified accredited with the DCRT with the must perform with the operation commercial entity with the DoD with and cannot perform this activity DRCT with the operators identified with the information with the vulnerability DoD security posture DCRT with the report include all of the finding extra with the network assignment based on the specific requirements able to discover the vulnerability to highlight with the significant vulnerability discovered during the operator provided analysis potential exploited vulnerability discovered requesting the Department of Defense component with the must release with the report with the DFHQ with the Department of Defense Information Network within 30 calendars of the briefing. The mission of the owner must include with the description over the implementation credit with the boundary with the DCRT with the operation contract with the CSP with the non-DCRT with the operation DoD enemy personal with the advantage with the DCAB with the advantage with the penetration testing operation cyber penetration testing teams provide with the real world all attacks simultaneously with the design to access significantly improve the effectiveness and of the information security program. The Department of Defense commercial entity with the performance of the DCRT operations will prepare with the data description, include with the architect with the diagram, with the DKCAD, with the event, with the penetration testing operation mission order, with the CSSP, with the obtain written approval of the mission order, with the perform of the conduct with the DCAT, with the events, with the penetration testing operation, show the basic constraint with the unsafety real world, with the mission execute the operational security, coordinated all planning efforts requesting mission owner with the detail, with the description, with the DCAT, with the events, with the penetration testing operation mission owner, CSSP, with approval to perform mission execution, with the provide mission detail, with the GFHQ, with the Department of Defense Information Network, with the DOD, with the must submit all of the mission detail with the GFH, Department of Defense Information Network, with the GFHQ, with the Department of Defense Information Network reporting procedure. Commercial entities must provide the information mission owner with the submit with the GFHQ, with the Department of Defense Institution Network. Provide with the result of the detail will explode with the vulnerability point with the in-scope of the target with the general remediation recommendation of the mission owner with the JFHQ with the Department of Defense Institution Network with the CSSB with the action. Program manager, information security with the system manager with the action with the recruit with the correct with the action with the mitigate with the reports with the action with the mission owner with the authorized with the official with the CSSB with the identify with the vulnerability contract with the CSSB with the description with the accreditation boundary with the licensing agreement with the DCAT with the event with the penetration testing events. Penetration testing with the DoD commercial entity with the make and perform of the penetration testing under the mission under the direction of the accessory with the will accept of the brief with the security feature with the application system network with the control manual with the commercial the ability to demonstrate whether they can perform with the penetration test with the DoD scan with the requirement during with the Fed ramp with the authorization deal with the commercial entity with the performing the penetration test with the delivery detail with the description of the penetration testing mission with the CSSB with the review mission objective submitted with the data with the system and the network safety guidelines with the restraint with the constraint with the penetration testing operation with the ensure the base with the constraint with the safety real world mission execute the operational security coordinating all planning efforts with the requesting mission with the objective with the retain with the written approval of the mission over the perform with the conduct with the penetration test under with the result with the detail with the exploit with the vulnerability with the scope of the target with the general remediation recommendation mission over the CSSP with the mission provide mission detail with the GFHQ with the Department of Defense instruction with the creative with the disseminated lessons learned mission order with the CSSP with the DOD with the entire entity with the must submitted with all the mission with the detail with the directive with the AFH headquarters of the Department of Defense Information Network with the DFHQ with the Department of Defense Infrastructure Network report proceed with the commercial with the entity with the provide with the information with the mission over the GFHQ with the Department of Defense Information Network track the issue with the proof of the corrective action investigation and identify with the vulnerable report action with the mission over the CSSP with the intrusion assessment, DoD entity with the commercial entity with the perform of the intrusion assessment with the assessment of the team with the perform with the discovery of the malicious activity, operate quarantine with the threat of the mission owners of the network, DoD commercial with the entity with the perform of the intrusion assessment with the performance activities and identify with the CSSP with the direction of the mission over the demonstrate with the entity with the effectively and with the DoD team with the requirement of the perform of the intrusion assessment with the power of the incident handling with the capability with the Fed ramp authorization and with the detail with the descriptions for the arising of visual facility assessment proceed with the with the result of the remediation recommendation of the mission over the CSSP, but the prior to protect with these activities to perform with the ensure of the mission with the delivery of the critical mission services. Awareness and training with the DoD with the entity commercial entity with the perform with awareness training with the DoD true with the perform of the training with the itself with the outsource with the training with the commercial entity with the DoD responsible for the outsource with the training with the developers the training with the requirements to provide with compliance oversight with the developers criteria with the mission measuring effectiveness and endpoint security capability DoD with the entity commercial endpoint with the can be identified with security capability DoD commercial entity providing endpoint with the security capabilities implement and maintain with the insecurity software with the audit with the log record with the determined documentation implemented receive according with the DoD policy issue with the mission owner with the policy cybersecurity the reference with the architecture with the DoD component reading security with the requirement regard with the reporting detection alt alert with the endpoint security the software with the authorizing official with the CSSP with the dispute with endpoint configuration and forth with the compliance policy with the direction with the mission owner with the authorizing official with the approval with the ensure with the audit log record with the end of the point and truth with the detection system log field with the require with the CSSP with the vulnerability management maintenance supporting vulnerability management program in the corner with the Department Directive with the 853101 with the DoD with the specific authority with the contact with the special with the commercial entity with the require with the mission over the reports and more with the documentation mission over the CSSP applied DoD's required security configuration DoD with the commercial entity with the apply with the DoD security configuration with DoD commercial with anything with apply with the DoD required security configuration staff with the comprehensive with the vulnerability management plan authorizing official with approval of performing action mitigate with the potential vulnerabilities and threat of the DoD and the commercial entity with the performing the action to mitigate with the potential vulnerability threat of the DoD commercial entity with the performing such action with the provided analysis of the correlation between the vulnerability management status of the asset with the miscellaneous incident of the two with the mission owner with the identified with the CSSP. Most vulnerability management compliant with the DoD. End with the commercial can monitor the volunteer management compliant with the DoD. Commercial with the end with the monitoring with the touch with the compliance produce with the required documentation. Ensure the timely report with the compliance statistics to the cybersecurity vulnerability management directives and U.S. Cybercom task over the mission over the aggregate acknowledgement compliance report malware protection of the DoD. Any of the commercial entity can perform the malware protection of the mission over the responsible for the authorizing official accountable ensuring the organization performing the malware protection of the head with the document proceed with the reporting of the malware of the mission over the provide the detailed reports immediately following all of the malware incident. Annually provides training and analysis report with the malware incident of the mission over the authorizing official of the DoD commercial entity with the performing the malware protection with the establish the capability with the capture correlated to analyze provide continuous visibility with the DoD assessment. That's it. Assess the compliant effectiveness change of state of the security of the control protective of the DoD component of the operating system of the application of the data of the maintaining ongoing awareness of the information security of the right of the vulnerability of the organizational risk management of the decision. So the Department of Defense Information Network with the operation providing ongoing awareness of the threats and the security status of the traffic flow of the performance ban for the route with the associated with the network and marine management areas. Supplemental monitoring of the anonymously activity to implement the capability to detect, prevent malware, incident employment of the malware detection, remediation of the mechanism for the detect with the remove of the malicious code, containment of the spread of the malware, the prevent further damage of the eradicate of the malware of the infected host, and employ with the mitigating action to prevent reinfection of the restore of the functionality. Configure malware detection mechanism to perform periodic scan with the mission over the environment and with the correct and DoD with the DoD component guidance with the maintain with the action of the antivirus, anti-malware software, latest update with the release, support virus and respond with self-reporting 24/7 and ensure the proper protection with the data, rest with the data interest of the app according to the app with the DoD policy. Track, execute the corrective actions appropriate to report the action of the mission over the CSSP with the point of contact with the mission with the detected active conduct with the DoD components of the execute of the mission with the through the active with the sense of the warning with the mission can enable the capability of the define with the community with the national security system and instruction number 4009. The ASNW and anomalies and events. The ASNW with the boundary cyberspace protection with the DoD and the must perform the ASNW BACP or boundary cyberspace protection commercial entity with the cannot perform the U.S. Cybercom with the must for the authorized the DoD entity of the ASW and for the boundary cyberspace protection and the DoD entity will form the ASW function with the defense of the information system network ingress and egress points for the concern of the commercial with the CSP environment. The activity not applicable with the IL2 with the CSO with the D2 with the traffic game of the IL2 with the not recover the path of the internet access pass point of boundary access points for the DoD complied competing security requirement guidelines or guides. ASW at the application of the DoD evidence commercial other than the came with the form ASW with the application of the DoD commercial entity of the ASW with the application of the capture with the identify of the events with leading with the incident with the identification alerting automated means to immediately report all the security violations unauthorized user of the active admission owner. Gathering action with the log with the artifact activity as well with the other criteria that include with the directive of the traffic flow with the configuration, previous investigation reports and protocols with the track with edited with the authorized and subscriber. Track and execute with the action with the appropriate with the report action with the mission owner with the CSSP with the point of contact warning intelligence. Activity issue with the distributed relevant warning intelligence relating with the Department of Defense information system, the computer networks received with the intelligence over the DoD editing with the situational awareness. The activity must perform with the DoD editing with the cannot be performed by the commercial entity. DoD entities must provide the efficient information for the organizational performing the warning intelligence that effective change with the enhance the DCO of the resiliency. And then we have information and the security continue with the monitoring with the detecting with the incident of the event with the U.S. government made it clear with the category of severity with the file of the safeguard report with the future analysis CSSP. Warning guidance of the information security continuous monitoring is in the Department of Defense Directive 8501 Defense of the Manual of the 853001 the National Institute Standard and Technology Special Publication 800-137. Mission owner with ensure the visibility endpoint with the device of any organization with the information security continuous monitoring. Maintain continuous visibility with the endpoint device of the DoD with the commercial entity performing the activity of the commercial entity with the maintain with the continuous visibility endpoint the point devices will establish capability capture correlate analyze with provide continuous visibility with the DoD ask with the share with the compliant with the effectiveness exchange the state with the security with the control with the protection of the DoD component owned the operating system application of the data report chain with the state with the security with the control with the mission with the owner with the identify with the the CSS point of contact with the Department of Defense, instruction of the network operation, providing continuous awareness, threat of the security staff, of the traffic involved with the performance bandwidth of the route with associated with the network or area with the CSSP, with the monitoring, with the employee, with the activity to detect with anonymously, with the occurrence, with the maintain, with the continue, with the awareness, security, with the status, reportability, cyber incidents report, timely informed with acceptable action, cybersecurity incident handling, decision report, all of the rest of the mission owner with the CSSP, with the POC. Correlate SF with the vulnerability data, with the threat data, with the CSSP, with the must perform the activity, active with the conducting the correlation, open with the closed source, with the reach, with the explosive, with the threat-based activity observed. On commercial open source with the internal with the provision and mission over the open networks validated, investigated, indicated with the CSSP with the account with the CSP will need to provide supporting information with the CSSP with the will aggregate with the all information of the CSP with correlate with the intelligent information received with the intelligent community channels within the DoD with the Department of Defense instruction with the operation DCO of the internal defense with measure with the providing ongoing awareness of the security staff of the organizational security posture of the reportable cyber events incident of the support time and inform of the action and cyber incident by handling decision on the corner of the chairman joint chief of the staff of the manual of many ongoing community awareness security status of the reportable cyber events incident of the support time and inform of the actionable cyber incident handling decision storm timely inform of the actionable risk decision continue with risk management framework decision CSP with the conduct with the correlation open to close with the closed source research exploit with the malware conducting correlation available data source with the validated investigation investigate and detect indicators correlate with the data with the original indicator of the withdrawal of the available data set with the support of the review indication of the malicious activity defense passive attribution with the capability of the available indicators distribution that define with the correlation between the internal protocol with the rest of the HTTP other indicator with the associated with the activity track intrusion set with the nation of the state of the activity is warranted with the conduct with the deconfliction of the activity through with the trusted agent with the DCRT with the exclusive with the related activity suspect with the unconformed malware notification CSSP with the must perform the malware notification CSP with all the alerts for the own mission owner with new malware with the assist the mission owner whenever the incident occurred with the CSSP with the will with the maintain contact with the anti-malware software vendors so the effect of the counter mission with the developers test of the deploy with as quickly as possible. The notify with the mission owner with the potential of the malware threats with the CSP with the report with the finding with the related with the CSSP with the detection process with the CSS with the maintain with the test with the detection process with the proceed with the ensure with the awareness with the anomalous event with the network security monitoring with the entry with the detection with the BCP function with the DoD performed activity which must be performed with the CSSP with the BCP with the monitoring with the encrypt the accuracy point with the commercial CSP with the environment of defense with an information system network to detect the report unauthorized activity determined with the network host of activity and truth and related involved with the vertical with the horizontal information sharing with the internet with the Department of Defense classified networks with the classified channel due to the traffic in the IL2 ILT CSO with the issue with the network over the path with the internet access point with the boundary cloud access point with the per DoD cloud competing security requirement guides network endpoint security monitoring at the enclave level with the DoD with the commercial entity with the performance activity to detect with the unauthorized activity but with the monitoring exit with the host of the DoD with the commercial entity with the performance of the network with the endpoint with the security monitoring enclave with the level with the monitoring the mission owner of the environment it's 24/7 365 report anomalous with them and the detective of the mission owner with the CSFP with the provide with the copy with the audited system log with the requested by CSP with the point of contact correlation activity with the requirement of the U.S. Cyber Command with the JF the H Corps with the Department of Defense infrastructure correlated vulnerability management of the data with the network insecurity with the monitoring to provide fewer false positives with a higher level of fidelity of the incident of the detection handling countermeasure track execute with the corrective action report action with the mission owner with the in the CSSP support incident reporting activity providing an event with the information mission over the CSSP with the bulletin timelines to identify the chairman joint chief of staff of the 651001 with the IAS and with the PAS if the CSP with the technical capability leveraging the intel with the derived signature with the specificity of the activity must be performed with the CSSP Department of Defense infrastructure and network with the user activity monitoring with the do with the inside with the red with the program to deal with the commerciality must perform with the Department of Defense infrastructure and the under user activity monitoring with the implementation of the capability with the perform CSSP with the outsourced refers specifically to the portion of the DoD of the workforce as operating with which does not include the CSSP with the infrastructure before. This deciding to outsource with any with respect to the user activity monitoring with the authorized official with the ensure with the Department of Defense component legal advice with the review with the providability to legal with the perform user activities monitoring with the function. The employee with the user activity monitoring with the capability to detect with anonymous insider activity outside outsourcing guidelines vary with the service model with the IAL table one more information with the implementation activity detect with anonymous activity can be performed with the Department of Defense and with the commercial entity with the coordination CSV depending on the risk of the authorization official with the deems appropriate in accordance with the Department of Directive 5205-016 with an activity employing with the user and user activity monitoring the capability to detect with anonymously insider user activity will with the document user insider anonymous user activity monitoring procedure for the share of them with the mission over the implement capability procedure to respond with the anomalous user activity mission owner for the environment, including procedure to mitigate the potential damage of the data of the mission owner's environmental report activity to the mission with the owner of the CSSP for the provide with the data report with the track execute with the corrective the action and as appropriate report action to the mission over the CSSP for the point of contact share with collected data with the mission owner over the CSSP means 5 with the mission owner. DoD they will coordinate with the Department of Defense component insider threat organization provide with the system indicate with the confirm and inform the insider threat investigation, ensure the training for all of the analysis, coordinate with the insider threat and law enforcement, maintain cyber threat and audit data with the DoD, any with the commercial any with the perform this activity, any with the maintain and cyber threat audit data that will implement procedure maintain with the audit data with the preserve audit data chain of custody, secure with the data with the collective support insider threat with the complying with the user applicable federal DoD regulation, document all procedure for the chain of the custom custody with the user activity monitoring and data with the chain with the mission over the correlate with the inside with the threat with the audit data with the threat data with this must be performed with the DoD that any who will coordinate with law enforcement with the counterintelligence element to correlate inside with threat profiles, knowledge maintain with the reference with any of the trend analysis identifying with common vulnerability, develop a countermeasure with the mitigating strategy for the remediation. Cybersecurity protection conditions, order with the task over the operational order, the fragmented order with the cyber protection condition with the orders implementation of the DoD with any with the commercial with the either performing the activity with the other than cyber protection condition with the orders the implementation with the approve of the cyber coordinate protection coordinate with the levels with the DoD order action special for the mission over the CSSP. Share operational technical impacts and then chain with the execute with the DoD with the order tailored readiness option with the mission over the CSSP with the building special over the mission over the corner for the U.S. Cyber Command and infrastructure 5213 with the keep of the mission with the owner of the CSSP with the praise with the status with the implementation recover the Cyber Command cyber protection condition with the order notification system with the CSSP with the must perform and active with the mission owner will with the corner for the JFHQ with the Department of Defense instruction Operation Order 17-0217. Mission owner reports complaining with the action with the DoD with order cyber protection condition, level of action with the, and coordinate with the CSSP with any of the issues. Coordinate with the CSSP with the project with the disseminated information will come with the CSP with the CSSP with the will. Notify mission owner with any of the cyber conditions, exchange of the order or orders with the notify with the mission owner with the compliance with the order with the provide with the technical subject matter expertise support to the mission owner requires the respond with the activity conducted with the respond with the containment the mitigate with the detect with the cybersecurity event with the incident categorization activity must be performed with the CSSP with the declare with the category of severity with the incident with the event with the also gather the information we're looking for with the existing incident criteria and come with the Department Directive with 85-3003 with the corresponding with the timelines identified in the chairman joint chief of staff 65-1001 incident reporting CSSP with the must perform with the activity because of all of the CSSP with the action with the classified incident with the reporting system action with the classified with the information channel with the disseminating reported incident with the event with the core with the AFHQ Department of Defense in their information network operational order 17-0217 with the superseding order with the CSSP with the form incident with the reporting in accordance with the DoD instruction 85-3003 mission owner must direct with the compliance with the CSP the agreement to identify with the CSSP with the response with the incident reporting with the system of the network of the approval of the process of the database of the CSP with the support of the CSSP implementing procedures support with the CSSP with the conduct with the incident with the handling according with the applicable with the DoD guidance with the categorizations timeline with the reporting evidence with the under the investigation of the potential incident with the correlated to information from the incident with the events of the occur with the mission owner system with the use of the documented proceed with the preventative with the incident with the artifact with the mission owner with the CSSP with the report with the use of the share with the internal DoD system user cybercom safeguarding delivering all of the information related with the incident with the problem with the request of the CSSP with the law enforcement with the counter intel with the requirement of the CSSP with the enter the incident with the ensure the care with the internal with the DoD system with the U.S. cybercom with the behalf of the mission owner incident handling response with the DoD evident commercial entity with the can perform the activity implementation proceed with the timing of the will to decide with the by the CSSP with the mission over the entity performing the incident with the handling response will perform incident response activity over the Department of Directive of Cloud Computing Security with the Department of Guides with the Department of Defense Instruction 5248 with Part 2 of 473 with the Department of Federal Acquisition Regulation Supplement provide portfolio offering with the can perform the volatile data analysis where forensic media analysis reverse engineering of the malware analysis from suspect with the compromised system files formative damage assessment with the incident with the response analysis report with the mission owner with the CSSP with the management with the maintain with the reference over the trend analysis post incident analysis disseminated with the CSSP with the mission owner Provided applicable to follow up with the timely feedback of the post-incident analysis, develop a countermeasure mitigation strategy with the remediation recommendation, approval of the CSB with the CSSP with the execute with the corrective action with the appropriate report action, mission on the CSSP with the incident with the response with the law enforcement with the CSSP with the must perform activity in accordance with Part 20473 with the fire with the DOD with the component heads will ensure that they have cyberspace incident related to the investigation, law enforcement, operational information with the cyber commander of U.S. Cyber Command with the Director of the Defense Counterintelligence Security Agency with the clear to defense contract with the CSSP with the acquire, preserve copy with the digital media with the log with the investigate technical data with associated with the cyber instruction and civil investigation with the redefine with agreement of the TTP's mission on and notify the Department of Defense law enforcement agency with any responsible effect with the portion of the Department of Defense instructions with the cyber mission and forth with the deployment of any of the law enforcement support with requested. Mission owner will comply with appropriate policy and guidelines for law enforcement criminal investigations that relate to cybersecurity and cyberspace with the notified with the Department of Defense law enforcement agent with the responsible effective portion of the Department of Defense and structure of CMF's deployment. Any law enforcement supported required with the ensure the Department of Defense component head with the respective of the law enforcement community with the cyberspace with the incident with the related to investigation counterintelligence element, operational information commander of the U.S. Cyber Command, the director of the Defense of the Counterintelligence Security Agency, cleared defense contractors. CSP will coordinate with the CSSP with the preserve copy of the digital media with the log with the investigate with the technical data associated with the cyber intrusion incident investigation and operation incident response counterintelligence CSSP for the performance of the activity in the Department of Defense Manual 853001 Department of Defense component heads with the ensure with the here with the cyberspace incident with the related investigation counterintelligence element and operational information commander U.S. Cyber Command with the director of the Defense Counterintelligence Security Agency with the clear with the defense contract with the military Department of Counterintelligence element of the communities will occur with the commander of the U.S. Cyber Command, the director of the Defense Counterintelligence Security Agency, the appropriate regarding the investigation version of the protective, the cost benefit decision with the minimize the negative impact of the investigation operations. Alright, the CSSP with the cloud with the preserve of the copy of the digital media log with the investigate with the technical data associated with the cyber intrusion with the incident with the investigation operation. With the Department of Defense Directive with the 5106 with the 01 with the youth and predefined with the agreement of TTP with the mission on with the notified with the DOD counterintelligence element of responsible effective with the portion of the Department of Defense and structure. The CMF the deployment of any counterintelligence with the element of the support of the request of the according with the CSSP mission on with the will ensure with the with the DOD component with the counterintelligence share with the cyberspace with the incident related to data investigate with the counterintelligence element the operational information for the cyber commander of U.S. Cyber Command with the director of the Defense Counterintelligence Security Agency for the cleared defense contractors. Coordinated with the CSB with the will with the preserve with the copy with the digital media law with the investigate with the technical data associated with the cyber intrusion and incident with the investigation operated for the with the Department Directive 510601 incident response with the analysis with the CSSB with the must perform of the activity control with the volatile data with the analysis forensic media analysis reserve engineering malware and analysis intrusion assessment with the share with the responsible for providing information with the CSSP with the CSP with the CSSP with the CSP must make data available to the CSSP with the consistent with the incident and event with the category and nature of the severity of impact and with the Department of Defense instruction 853003 CSSP will provide capability and allow the respond with events of the cyber into the mitigated adversely operational technical impact of the DoD component owned operated portion of the Department of Defense information network with the Department of Directive with 853003 with the 858202 with the Department of Directive 510601 provide capability determine the current adequacy with the cybersecurity measure of the DoD with the component portion of the Department of Defense identification network identified with the deficiencies that provide the data from the protected with the effectiveness proposed with the cybersecurity measure with the confirm the adequacy such measures after implementation acquired with the preserved copies of the digital media with logs investigate with the technical data associated with the cyber intrusion and incident with investigation and operation acquired with the tactical analysis strategic analysis law enforcement investigation acquired with the Department Directive 510601 report finding the Department of Defense Cyber Incident Management System in accordance with the Chairman Joint Chief of Staff 651001 recorded any lessons learned in the Joint Lesson Learned Information System mission owner will little required CSIP with the incident response artifacts with the CSSP with the specified the CSISSP with the cybersecurity point of contact all documentation with the CSSP with the L allow simultaneous sharing of cyber information with the CSSP with the CSSP with the ensure assigned cyber protection team of the reports the CSSP with the coordinated all incident response activity verify with the validate, articulate with the operational impact with the incident with the report of the CSP with the implement passive countermeasure with the very feasible and notice of the mission with the CSSP with the retain all incident artifact with documentation with the approve the record with the disposition schedule with the applicable with the DoD component for pursuing Subpart 12, 22 with a 32 with a Tel, 36 with a code for relation, collective with a tab with a will be shared with the mission of the CSSP with a V with a mean with a specified CSSP upon request and in accordance with it. Subpart 204, 73, the Department of Forest Acquisition Regulation. Part 1, abbreviations, glossaries, ASW, attack and sensing warning, BCP, boundary cyberspace protections, Commander, United States Cyber Command, Chairman, Joint Chief of Staff, Manual of Cyber Mission for Cyber Protection Condition, Cloud Service Offering, Cloud Service Provider, Cybersecurity Service Provider, DoD Cyber Assessment Team, DoD Cyber Space Operation, DoD Cyber Red Team, the Defensive Federal Acquisition Regulations, Supplement, DoD Chief of the Information Officer, Department of Director of the Defense, of the Department of Defense Instructions, Department of Defense Information Network, Directive Type Memorandum, External Vulnerability Scan, Federal Risk Authorization Management Program, Infrastructure as Service, Impact Level, and the Information Security Continuous Monitoring, Joint Force Headquarters, Department of Defense Information Network, Law Enforcement, Operational Order Platform as a Service Program as a Manager, Point of Contact Software as a Service Special Publication, Tasking, Order Techniques and Procedures, User Activity Monitoring under United States Cyber Command, Vulnerability Assessment Analysis, Web Vulnerability Scan. And then definitions. And that was Department of Defense 6000, Defense Pentagon, Washington, D.C. 20301 6000. Chief Memorandum, Senior Officer, Pentagon, Leadership Commander and Combat Commanders, Defense Agency, DoD Field Activity, Chris.